Hey everyone, welcome to PunkCast. My name is William Maxwell. I'm a student of Web3 and the owner of Punk 9527. CryptoPunks are 10,000 uniquely generated characters stored permanently on the Ethereum blockchain. No punk is the same. This is a show dedicated to celebrating the punks behind the punk. My hope for this podcast is that we capture the essence of the punk culture, elevate the brand and the individual behind the punk. One last thing. Projects discussed on the show is not financial advice. Crypto and NFTs are a volatile and risky asset class. Please always do your own research. Other than that, let's go. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of PunkCast. Today we've got Punk 3651 with 3 attributes: small shades, dirty mustache like me, and a highly sought after hoodie trait. He's an art collector and a self-proclaimed Biscuit king, which I think are more like scones than biscuits, frankly, and host of NorCal and Shill, a podcast focusing on elevating art and artists. Please welcome the one and only NorCal Guy to the show. NorCal, good morning, or good evening, I should say. How are you?
Yeah, good. Very good. And thank you for having me on today. I know it's a little early for you, and I appreciate that.
It's a true good morning here for sure. No, the pleasure is mine. I'm honored to have you on the show. I've been sort of observing you and a big fan of all the things that you've been doing, especially in the art space and what you do for collectors and the NFT space. It'd be great to sort of dig into that, but maybe we could start with a couple things. I think I originally got onto you from Hyperspec.
Oh, yeah.
Because I met Hyperspec in Thailand last year. On the way back from NFT NYC. I came back. I had COVID. I had nowhere to go. I couldn't get back into Hong Kong. So I had to spend my time out in Bangkok because they didn't check if you had COVID, and I was looking around just to sort of see which punks were around, and Hyper was around, so we just caught up, and he brought me to the wonderful world of the RCSA Discord, which was an interesting experience to say the least. Had toe pictures floating around, but but maybe we could start with, I guess. And it might be self-explanatory, but what's the story behind NorcalGuy?
Dude. So, I mean, I had no plans, trying to grow an account or anything. And I still, am surprised at where I am right now. It was not in the cards. That was not my thing. And I was I had just started buying some art from artists, some one-of-ones. And, they were looking for who was the owner on Twitter. And I had my crypto Twitter handle, and I was I don't know if I want to use that one. And so I created a new one just out of the blue. I was I'll just go with NorCal Guy. It kind of gives a location, kind of gives a name. It could be a name. And that's what I went with. I went with NorCal Guy, and been that way ever since.
Presumably you are based in Northern California.
Yes, I am.
Nice. No, that's cool. Well, maybe you can just start us off with a little bit about your background, everything sort of preceding crypto and NFTs. It'd be great to sort of unpack your personal story before we get into the NFT side.
How I got into crypto and everything was because of libertarianism. It was more like a political thing. I was subscribed to Reason magazine, and I remember hearing about this currency you could mine, and I was just that's awesome, and didn't really do anything with that info. And then later started hearing about it again, and that's where I kind of starting to dive in a little more. It's just it's a currency that's not affiliated with the government. It's awesome. Independent.
So just time referencing as well. So when was that roughly?
So I feel that was it was right before Mount Gox crashed.
So that's early, man.
I want to say that's either because it's right around the new year. So I don't know if it was the end of 2012 or the end of 2013, when they were transitioning into the new year. So I don't remember.
That's okay.
The exact year, but it's in there. And I remember buying up into that first hype, or my first hype cycle, and preaching out there this is hyper Bitcoinization. Everyone, you got to get this. It's going to be everywhere. And then Mount Gox happened, and everything came crashing down. I was like, ooh, but I still believe in this technology, and I just kept on buying.
Were you caught in that Mt. Gox stuff? Did you have stuff on there
No,
or?
no.
Okay.
Like there was like rumors that people were having issues or it was taking time to get out. So I was just buying on Coinbase.
Mm, got it. Um, maybe we can go a little bit deeper. What did you sort of study growing up? Like, did you have like an art background? Like,
Yeah, so I mean, I have been all over the place as far as what I've done in school. College, I initially thought about going into like dentistry, but I hated all the science classes and for some reason took an art class at this one school and I really liked it. And one of my professors was like, "Hey, you should actually like maybe go check out this other art school." And so I did it. I went and checked out Pasadena Art Center and was looking at their programs and talking to them. And they're like, "Hey, you're not good enough to get in here right now, for sure." And they're like, "You can go build your portfolio basically to apply again in the future at the Pasadena City College where our professors also teach there. And then you can take like the night school here as well." So my goal was like, I wanted to build this portfolio and get into the Pasadena Art Center as a product designer. And so I was taking classes for like 2.5 years. And I just felt like I was never going to be good enough to get in there. And I was just like, because like these guys that you're sitting next to, even at the community college, you're like, damn, these guys are good. Like, I am not that good. I know I'm not that good. And these guys are really good. And so, like, damn, I should probably do something else. But it was a fun 2.5 years. I had a great time. I took a lot of different art classes of different sorts, which I think has helped me a lot in this space. And then from there, I went actually to doing like auto body. I went and did car body work. Did that at a community college for a couple years. Learned how to paint cars, learned how to do upholstery, and do work on cars. And I really loved that. But was talking to some professors, and they all have like bad backs, and their hands are all jacked up. And I was just like, maybe I should just do this as a hobby. And then I finally went and just got a business degree. I went to like a local university. I got went to their adult program and was like, I just want to get my business degree as fast as I can get it done. So I did that night courses and worked and got a business degree. That's kind of my background there.
no, that's super interesting, and it makes a lot of sense too because it feels like you've got a really strong knack for art and an eye for art from all the things that you sort of collect. So that makes a lot of sense. Auto shopping is an interesting one. Were you like working on sort of Fast and the Furious type cars or?
Well, I will say I had a 91 Honda Civic hatchback. Um,
Wait,
Definitely fit that genre, but did not look like that genre. It was
did you have the
definitely
do you have the neon lights and exhausts
no, no.
all done
Well, my exhaust did fall off at one point.
it?
It just like rusted and fell off. And so it definitely sounded like I had the cans on there, but I did not. And then I also eventually got a 71 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, this big beast. That was just this wrecked car. I mean, it just looked terrible, but I loved driving that thing. It looked horrible. And I was like, I'm going to fix this thing up. And then gas prices like went over $5 a gallon.
Well, ouch.
And that thing gets like 10 miles a gallon or something like that. It's big V8 in there. And I was just like, I can't afford this. I can't afford to do this. And that was when there was a cash for clunkers program in California. In California specifically. And they're like giving you $1,000 for your car. And so I was like, I went and registered for it, went to go drive it to this place to turn it in and get my $1,000. And it caught on fire on the way down there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. It was awesome.
So-
So I was like, shoot, now I can't even turn it in because it doesn't work anymore. And I was like, I pulled into like behind a gas station and turned it off, got the fire out, and I was like, crap. I saw a tow truck there, the flatbed, and I just walked up to the driver. I was like, dude, I got the pink slip. Do you want this Cadillac? And I gave it to this guy. But it's tow truck driver. I don't know what happened to it after that. Gave it away.
it's in a museum somewhere now that they know it's NorCal guys.
Oh man. But yeah, still it's funny. Funny times, good times. But yeah.
Are you still much of a car guy? Like I miss driving. I gotta say, man.
If I had space, I would have a garage and be working on cars. I enjoy it a lot. It's like very like relaxing to me. It can be frustrating for sure, but yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I would love to do that in the future, but right now I only have a two-car garage where I live, and so that's not something to do. I mean, I got a fun car that I drive, but I don't have a car I can work on that I work on. Yeah,
What are you driving now? Out of curiosity.
I have a Golf, a Volkswagen Golf R.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I sort of feel in some ways, I probably feel the same, probably a bit more strongly about motorcycles.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, cafe races and all that type of stuff. They're just absolutely beautiful. And I'm with you, like with a garage, is something, you know, relaxing about it, right? Got the radio on and, you know, you got the toolkit out and you're just tinkering away. So I'm probably in the same boat, but there's no space here in Hong Kong. But maybe when I get back to Melbourne or something, but for sure. So I could definitely see the creative and the art side in the auto body shop and the collectability of vehicles too. So that's an interesting sort of background. And what kind of art did you specialize in, or did you have a sort of an affinity to?
So, like, the one class that I loved the most was my black and white photography classes that I took. So this was like pre-digital or good digital, I should say. So it was black and white film. We developed it ourselves, and then we made the prints ourselves in the dark room. I really enjoyed that a lot. Like the process of also like the same thing. You know, it's very methodic and there's a lot that goes into it to just and it's very relaxing to me to like kind of see everything come together and like figuring out the timer and where you want more light or no or less light on the when you're developing it, the prints. It was really fun. Like I loved it so much. I was really close to getting a setup at home to like do it in my bathroom. I loved it a lot, but you know, shifted gears, did something else.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you mentioned that you transitioned away from dentistry into art. I mean, they're sort of, you know, it feels like they're miles apart. I mean, what was it about art that drew you in?
I guess it was like the random I decided to take this random class at the school I was going to at the time. I don't know what it was, if it was like intro to graphic design or something. I think that might have been it. And I just really enjoyed it. And it really got me thinking about, I guess, doing that as a career. And I just really enjoyed it. The tools, making things look cool on the paper or the screen. So yeah, I guess that's kind of there's something, I guess, to the process. And I really enjoyed it. The learning.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I think the guys that you got in the Right Click Save As crew are pretty heavy on photography as well.
Oh yeah.
I probably didn't appreciate photography NFTs until I met Hyperspec, and I think as soon as he invited me in there, I went in there and I sort of said, "Hey guys, you know." And you know, photography NFTs feel a little bit low effort. And then I had everybody like hitting on my DMs. But it makes a lot of sense. I guess that community you've got. Cool. So, all right, then let's fast forward a little bit, going back into your crypto sort of journey. So you got in around the Mount Gox sort of era and debacle, but it kind of feels like where we are now in some ways. We've gone through another cycle where we've been rugged by Celsius Voyager, FTX and the like as well. But we're fundamentally still here because we believe in the technology. But I mean, how are you feeling about all of this stuff at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I knew there was gonna be another cycle for I mean, so I felt it was gonna be a higher high than what we had, like based on like the historics, seeing where previous highs and previous lows compared to each other. I thought we were gonna go higher, so I wasn't prepared for it to come down yet. But it's just a bear market. It sucks. It's hard to make money in a bear market. You had to have a side job most of the time. I told many artists in the good times, the bull market, like, hey, don't quit your day job until you have been through at least one bear market because you don't know what it's like.
Yeah. No, it is pretty rough. For those that are hiring, I've got my CV ready as well. So this, this is going to pay the bills. But this is really knocked my teeth out. This bear market. So you went. This is your third or
Third,
second?
yeah, it'd be my
Third
third
sort of.
technically.
Yeah. Did you get in through Bitcoin like
Yep.
around the Mt. Gox area? So you bought it from Coinbase. So that was like 2012, 2013 ish. So that's super early. So you understood what it was, the power of it. What happened next? What was your crypto journey like next throughout those years?
Yeah. So interesting enough, like my wife and I started a business for her at around that time as well. And I remember shitcoin trading and trying to do that while managing this other business or being really involved in this other business. And I was trying to do it. Like I was working in her office, trying to do stuff. And then I was following Twitter, trying to be like, oh, there's, I got to log into my, whatever the exchanges of the day and trade this thing to make some money. And basically I couldn't do it because it's like either focus on this or that. And I had to focus on the business and gave up on trading because didn't have time to learn it. I had to do my own thing and just dollar cost average basically. I should have pulled my money from some of those exchanges because I just let them sit. I like, oh, they'll be around in the future. Just let them sit there and lost some money there. But just dollar cost average, and that's always been my play ever since I don't generally have time to dedicate to trading, to learn the charts or to watch the charts.
And what were you DCAing most of the time?
It's mainly Bitcoin only, and some Ethereum.
And shitcoin training. So was that around the ICO boom
This
era,
is
or
the
was it even
pre the
before?
pre ICOs. Yeah. So this is like when
So what were you
Dogecoin came
buying?
out and Kitty Coin and like there's a bunch of animal coins that came out, random stuff.
All meme coins, were they?
Yeah, I guess you could say they were all pretty much meme coins back then. It was like just one type of coin started trending and then they'd be like copies and whatnot. I remember like,
Were they L1s, or were
yeah,
they
they're
on
all
a
L1s. They're all L1s
that's crazy. Okay.
from what I remember. Yeah, they were not built on anything. They were just like you had Litecoin that came out. There's some other, like I remember there was like Bitcoin was the gold, Litecoin was the silver, and there was like one other one that was, I'm blanking on the name. That was like the copper. But then there's all this other crap stuff out there, and I just did not have time. Like I remember finding Kobe on there and trying to follow his tweets, and then I just gave up because I couldn't do it. I couldn't dedicate the time that these guys were doing, and I was just like, I have a business, I got to keep afloat, so I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm just dollar cost averaging.
Well, you backed the right horse, it sounds like. And then fast forward to, I guess, the Ethereum, ICO sort of boom era. What did you make of Ethereum versus all the other coins at the time?
I was more of a Bitcoin maxi, so even I believed Ethereum was more of a shit coin. So I had Ethereum, but I wasn't proud of it, and I never participated in any of the ICOs because I was like, I have kind of been through this, and I know they're all going to go like down for the most part. So I just dollar cost average with Bitcoin and Ethereum at that point. Definitely heavier on the Bitcoin, and then just rode it out.
Nice. And how are you feeling about them now? Like, I mean, there's obviously some really strong, staunch Bitcoin maxis out there that really hate what we put on put on the blockchain, right?
Right, right. I mean, yeah, it's funny. My philosophy always was like they're eventually going to do that on Bitcoin chain and on the Bitcoin blockchain anyway. So why am I going to do it on somewhere else? It's always my in the back of my head. And sometimes I still wonder if everything's going to settle to Bitcoin in the future at some point. But that was just always my thought. Like, why would I mess around with this coin over here that they came out with when they're doing other things on Bitcoin that's really interesting too. But it's interesting, like, because it's such a like the two communities don't communicate very much. Because I think like Lightning Network is pretty cool, or the Rootstock stuff that they're doing over there and working on smart contracts and whatnot. But everyone, I don't know why there's such a big divide between the Ethereum people and the Bitcoin people. It's just funny.
It just feels like it's more the Bitcoin people, not to sort of, you know, sound, like an asshole just trying to blame everything on the Bitcoin guys, but they're quite antagonizing, right? There's only one coin, everything else is a shit coin. You're a scam. And when
Yeah,
you sort of
yeah,
say those words, it's quite inflammatory and
that's true.
offensive.
It's true. It's true.
And I sort of feel like, especially the bankless guys, I think they've done a really good job at trying to be inclusive and trying to be really objective about everything. So, and there's a lot of firsts that have been built on Ethereum as well, right? I mean,
Right,
NFTs
right.
sort of blew up, and all these things, all these amazing things that sort of came out of it, and now Bitcoiners are coming out and they're releasing ordinals, right? And I'm going, no, yeah, this is another sort of wave, but yeah, so I feel very strongly about Ethereum. It obviously have some bags in Bitcoin, and I think it's got a place to sort of play, but I think it's just the community that just turned me off them a little bit, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, and that's fair. I mean, that's a lot of people get that from them. And, I guess to be fair, some of those people did get burned bad by some of these early shit coins back in the day. And they're like, I'm not screwing around with that. And you can't, well, there's like, you're probably going to lose your money, is kind of what they're coming from.
Feels like meme coin season. How I'm feeling about meme coin season right now. I've been burnt on everything.
Yeah.
I probably
Uh,
should get into that.
yeah. It's meme coin season, I guess. Well, kind of maybe towards the end of it. It seems like everything's kind of dying off. But yeah, I did not really play in that. I threw out, a little bit, but I'm not a chartist. I don't read the signs. So
Yeah, I'm terrible at it. That's cool. And so, talk to us a little bit about your entry into NFTs. Like, do you remember what your first NFT was?
uh yeah, besides the NBA Top Shots, it was a Pepe that I bought a edition. It was like the Scream, but it was a Pepe, and then it was like a stock chart going to zero.
On ETH or on
On ETH. Yep, on Rarible.
okay. When was that?
It's like February of 21.
Yeah, February 21. Okay. Yeah, that's still pretty early. So you got in through the Top Shots
Yeah,
craze, and
yeah.
then your first piece on Ethereum. Um, how what did you make of NFTs at that time? Like, did it automatically make a lot of sense to you, or did it take a bit of time?
Yeah, so I remember when CryptoKitties came out, and back for me back then, I was just like, those people on Ethereum are doing really stupid stuff over there. I don't know why I would learn to play this game or whatever they're doing, breeding cats, digital cats. Stupid. So I never looked into it, and I would hear about stuff here and there, and finally, read a couple articles in 2020, and finally it clicked for me for some reason. I don't know why it took me so long, because like digital scarcity made sense to me with Bitcoin, but why digital art didn't make sense, I don't know. Like, took so long when it seems so obvious looking back at it. But yeah, so then I finally got into NBA Top Shots and had fun there, and then came into digital art, crypto art, and started buying like one of ones and Gen art.
That sounds like a pretty common way people get in is through NBA Top Shots, and then sort of making their way through. And I think that's how a lot of the Bored Apes came through. It felt like it was a lot of the Top Shots community. But you came on the scene. Were you buying one of ones straight away? Like were you on Maker's Place and Super Rare and
I was buying one of ones in editions fairly early in 2021. Yeah, Maker's Place, Known Origin, Super Rare, Rareable. It didn't really matter to me, the marketplace. And then kind of got into Gen Art and was started flipping those a lot, but quickly realized that I should probably not do that. It was easy money, but it felt like it was historic and something really special there in the Gen Art. Like the Gen Art like really solidified my belief in digital art. Like the fact that it's all code, it's all on chain, and it can always be replicated. Like you can always bring it up somewhere. You don't have to worry about it being stored. That really solidified Gen Art for me and digital art. So I definitely was like, I should probably be keeping all these and not selling or flipping them.
how did you get into Gen Art?
It was through Moon Overlord's Discord, and he was the one that was talking about Top Shots, and then he was talking about, I think it was in that Discord, talking about Gen Art, and I just started following along and then started minting. I think my first minting stuff, which was funny, the first stuff I started minting was not flippable. It was the color studies by Jeff Davis. But the later stuff that was more popular, I started just kind of trying to flip those for like 2 to 3 X's or more, 10 X's.
Nice. It's a bit of a crazy wave there as well. And what made you sort of get into one of ones? Because I mean I struggle to get into one of ones even now. I just it's hard to really identify what's good. I mean I don't really have an eye for it. And the other side too is there's not from a investment point of view, there's
Right,
not a lot of
right.
liquidity, right? So if you're going to buy something, you really need to like the art and the artist and the story behind it. Like, what was it about one of ones for you?
It was building that relationship, getting to know the artist. That was, I guess, what really started it. Because my wife and I don't own I mean, we own art, but it's from like local, mostly from local artists. But like we have like one nice piece that we bought on vacation once. And, when you go on vacation, all those galleries or whatever, wherever you go, like say Maui, there's no artists there. It's usually just people that run the gallery, and you never get to talk with the artist. So being able to talk with the artist, getting their perspective on stuff, how they did something was really fascinating to me, getting to actually know them as a person. So I really enjoyed that. And that's, I guess, what kept me coming back was enjoying those conversations.
Maybe you can share a little bit about, I guess, your process about your one of one art. Like, if you were to give some advice for people looking to buy one of one, like, how do you sort of see something in a piece that others sort of can't? Like, what's your sort of process or criteria?
Oof. So, I mean, it all, I guess, it's definitely an investment. So I wouldn't say like I'm like not looking to make money. I'd like to make money on all my investments or art collection. I would say, there's a scale, there's a sliding scale for sure based on price, on how much risk you're willing to take. So, like, for the cheaper stuff, it doesn't really matter. But the more expensive it gets, the more I'm like, how long has this person been around, been doing this type of work? What is their portfolio look like? And from there, decide if they have potential. I definitely feel if the bigger the portfolio or the more time they've been doing something, they probably have a good chance of doing well long term. And it's always been a long term thing for me.
Yeah, nice. Man, I mean, you've got a pretty amazing collection. I mean, we could probably talk all day about that as well. You got a huge one, but you're also working on some interesting projects to sort of see. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that. I don't know which one we want to start with. Vet funds, I think you Click Mint Pass, Click Create IO. There's a few things that you sort of involved in. What's a good one to sort of start with?
I guess we could just start with like the art projects. So like Click Mint Pass is a simple idea I got when I bought my daughter this digital camera that, but also it prints these Polaroids or these Fujiroids. And, the idea was, you take a picture with it. It's not post processed at all. It's all in camera filters or printing effects in the camera itself. And from there, you mint it and sign the physical. And whoever wins the auction, it goes to them. And then they do the same thing. They do something interesting with it. So that's like the basic premise of it. And I thought it'd be an interesting thing to have at the end of like a couple years or whatever, however long it goes for, see what people take with it. And then it's like this little physical token that comes with it. It's kind of cool.
That's cool. So you basically literally send the camera to various sort of people that buy the piece.
That win the auction. Yeah. So like this, the first auction was, I took the picture and had no idea where it was going to go. And every auction is listed at 0.069. And so that's where it starts each time. And whoever, wants to get it, wherever it ends in 24 hours, they get it and it goes to them and they get the signed print of that picture. Yeah. So right now, Fuck Render has it up in Vancouver and I think he's already taken the picture. So I need to reach out to him and see when he wants to send it back.
Nah, nice. So some of them are really cool, man. And I see the prices too. They're quite heavy. So I think the first couple went for like
It
more than
did.
10
It
each.
did.
So you
Yeah.
took number one. Number one was like of a
Yeah.
black and
Yeah.
white tree. With that's a beautiful piece. And then oh man, that's a pretty cool concept. And so like is there like a time frame or is it just whenever they get around to it and then
Yeah, seems like it's like once a month is what it's coming out to be, or a little over once a month. Yeah. I mean, I was hoping to get it a little faster, but it's a good pace. It's not, people are still interested in it every time I list it for auction. So that's all that matters.
but it's a kind of nice too, I guess the provenance piece because that camera is passing through a whole collection of hands and yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's an interesting thing, the auction split 90% goes back to the creator of that piece and 10% goes towards the shipping of it. So that's how it's split. So a lot of those people are getting their money back for the most part.
That's great. That's a cool project. So that's Click Mint Pass. What about Click Create?
So Click Create, that is a curated edition project, premium edition project, where we've decentralized curation and trying to, make it so if you wanted, you could come in and collect a diverse amount of art from a variety of artists that is truly curated by a diverse amount of people. So it started out, we were thinking about doing an edition curation thing, but I felt like Clutch and I, who are doing it together, if we curated each week, you know, I don't know how diverse it would be. So decided to go the curator route, and we have a new curator each month, and they choose the artists for that month. So there's an artist for each week, and then there's a rising star drop, which has like some sort of mechanic built in where depending on the month, you have to collect three, then you get it airdrop to you or whatnot. And then mint prices on the editions are 0.042 for sub pass holders. And when it goes public, it's 0.069. And so far, I've loved it. Coldy is curating this month of May, and it's looking really good. I mean, he's brought to my eyes that artists that I haven't seen, and I've really been enjoying it. The project's been really cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely a decentralized curation, which has been fun.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you got some pretty big names on there in terms of artists, man. I see Grant Yoon on there and Killer Acid. It's pretty big names in the space.
Yeah. So yeah, they're curating later this year, and Kath Samar is curating, and Patrick Amadon. Yeah, so we definitely have and Jenny Passanen is curating. So we have a good lineup of curators that we hope bring art that they like to light and that we may not know. Because I mean, honestly, on Twitter, I'm like in my own bubble with like photographers, so I don't see a whole lot of other stuff. So this is a way to help diversify that, even for myself.
Yeah, for sure. And most of the artists that you get onto the platform, are they generally sort of emerging artists or are they sort of existing artists?
Not necessarily emerging. Most of them have done pretty well. They usually have like average sales of around 4 to 5 ETH or higher. Um, and then the rising star, we is usually someone that's about an ETH for their all-time high.
That's really cool. So that's Click Create. What about the Met Fund?
Uh, so that's just a group of like 12 collectors where we basically like toss out ideas on what to collect, and we basically pool funds and buy art that way.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because I sort of see you've got some pretty big names in there. You've got VVD, Vincent Van Gogh, and I also see D's Fire there as well. So that must be pretty fun. So what have you guys collected so far?
Uh, dude, it's a variety of stuff. That's a great question that I like. I know I've participated in a lot of them. Feel like I know we swept drip drop floor once. Man, it's always something new. Like it's hard to sometimes it's hard to remember because there's a lot of suggestions out there. Like, hey, should we buy this or should we not buy this?
Yeah. No, I sort of see there's a mixture of stuff on the Twitter side. Cool. And then finally as well, you're also a podcast host, which I've listened to a few of them, deep dives on artists and sort of elevating their work and their profile. I guess what was the inspiration behind NorCal and Shill?
So, I mean, that started like mid to late 21 is when I started that. And I personally, I don't have time for like long form podcasts. Like, I want to be able to sit down or whatever I'm doing, get through a podcast and not have to sit there for like 2 hours to get through it. So, that was part of the reason I started it. Something that I knew was going to be around 30 minutes and on average, and then it'd be like fun, lighthearted questions that allow you to get to know the artist. Like generally, those questions that I ask allow you to kind of get an insight into the personality of the artist.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you've had some pretty good guys on there too. So for those listening, definitely tune into NorCal and Shill. I'll put that in the show notes for sure. Cool, man. And so okay, let's get back onto the whole reason why we're here. CryptoPunks. Not many people know you actually have a CryptoPunk and an amazing one at that. And I've been trying to harass you to change your profile picture, but he's a really cool guy. So dirty mustache like me, and also the hoodie trait and small shades. Talk to us about your journey to CryptoPunks.
Right. So I forget exactly if it was like late February 21 or early March of 21. Pranksy had his $1 million punk raffle, and I forget how many punks it was he bought off of Larva Labs that were dev punks, and he auctioned them off. He had like these tickets you could buy, and then holding the ticket, you got into a certain punk when it got raffled off. So I actually ended up buying those on secondary and just held them, and that's how I got my first two punks.
So can you help explain what that was? So Pranksy he had a punk raffle. He'd sell NFTs of these tickets, which is basically a raffle ticket.
Yep. And it was a so it was a guaranteed punk. He only sold raffle tickets for how many punks that he had to give away. So you bought a ticket and you were guaranteed a punk. It was random and it was a dev punk. So one of the first 1,000 punks. So that's how I got in. I bought it at like 3 ETH. I want to say I bought 2 tickets.
And it was basically a guaranteed random punk
Yeah.
it gave you access to.
Yep.
Oh, Why was he doing that out of curiosity? Do you know?
I think he was trying to get punks hyped up. Is what I think he had. I think he had a bag. He was just trying to promote them, and it definitely helped. I mean, my ticket went like from 3 to 18 ETH in value by the time it happened.
The actual
Ticket,
ticket
yeah, and then
went from 3 to 18 ETH.
yeah, and then the punks, were at hovering at 20 ETH after that, and I feel like there was like a Christie's auction or something like that around that time, shortly after. So there was a lot of hype going into it, and so I mean, the punk prices kept on going up after that. So that was how I got in my first two, and then I think I bought a 3D after that and a hoodie, and I sold one of them. I know I had 5 punks at one time, and then I've slowly sold them off, and then just held the one.
Yeah. Do you remember what the first two were? Were they sort of floor punks or were they?
Yeah, they were basic. They were one was a vampire head hairline, goatee, maybe. I think they were both goatees, and when they weren't like anything special. Like the rare trait that I had was like the vampire hair, I think is what they called it.
Yeah. It's probably a good thing you got rid of the goatees. I think there's been some memes going around with the goatee trait, which I probably won't repeat
Right,
because it
right,
probably
right.
devalues them. Um, but yeah, good thing you maybe got them off the balance sheet. So talk to us a little bit about 3651 and I guess the selection process and how you're thinking about traits and attributes. Why were you going for, I guess, the hoodie?
They definitely seemed like they had the most potential long term. They were, I don't know, they always were like this desired trait. The people that people or seem like NFT, digital art, Twitter, and especially back then, like if you bought and sported a punk, you got like your account blew up on Twitter. And I was like, well, the hoodies seem like to do the best, and I'll probably just buy one, keep it in my back pocket for long term. And I don't know, that's why I did it, just a long term investment.
Good choice, mate. It puts you in the caliber of other esteemed hoodie punks in the space. There's a
Oh,
whole bunch of them, right? So it's a nice sort of cohort to be part of. 6529, DC Investor, these there's a whole bunch of them. Barcella, who we've also had on the show as well. So it's a good looking punk too, and I like the deal dirty mustache as well. Just extra punk looking. What was it about punks that drew you to the collection that you sort of felt that it had some value in the collection? Because I know you sort of got a penchant for investment when it comes to sort of NFTs, and despite the fact that you came in through the Pranksy sort of route, what was it about punks for you?
there's definitely the historic aspect of it. So that was part of it. That was probably the main part of it, was the historic part of it. And then, these people, many people in this space have built reputations around punks. So that essentially like diamond hands those punks that have a reputation around them. Not many people are going to sell that. So, and a lot of those wallets are lost as well, the original claimers and traders after that. So I felt like long term, it was just an easy play. You had the money to just buy one and just sit on it long term. I mean, I'm just a long term investor and just felt like an easy play. I don't know.
It's it's working out. So it's a good strategy. And if money wasn't an issue for you, and I'm sure it's not NorCal, but what would be your dream punk?
I don't know. It kind of would be fun to get like an ape or a zombie. I think one of those would be cool.
Yeah, and ape and zombies are probably my faves too. And if you were to look back at your NFT career to date, like what do you think would be, your biggest wins and losses that are worth mentioning?
I mean, yeah, you could say my punk is probably the biggest win or one of the bigger wins. Um, my biggest win on paper is probably getting a pump, eternal pump from Dimitri Brniak.
Hyper's got one as well, right? He was the one that educated me on what the pump was.
Yeah. And then that, you got your Rapture as well. So there's only 50 pumps and 50 Raptures.
What's the floor on
So
them now? I don't know if you've checked in a while, but there's still like something crazy, like 200 ETH or something.
yeah, I think so. Some of the history on the pump mint is it got botted really bad, and like one person like got like 20 of them. So that, and a lot of people were pissed because they didn't get the mint. And I tried the mint one, I couldn't mint one, so I had to buy on secondary. But the one that's on the floor currently, I think he has it listed for like 200, is the last one that the botter has.
Any losses that you're sitting on worth mentioning, or you want to prefer not to talk about it?
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's tons of losses, man. I mean, a lot of us participated in trying the PFP season, so I got a lot of stuff in my closet about that. Recently, I did buy like a little bit of Billy for the fun of it, and definitely
Oh
lost on
man,
that. So
Billy,
it's
jeez.
good times, good times.
Yeah, I got caned on Billy too. Yeah, good times. But it was a good meme. I felt right. I thought it had potential, like
Yeah, yeah,
Billy to a billion,
yeah.
and also Billy the goat being the greatest of all time. But it just didn't kick off. Live and learn. And if you were to look across the punk community, do you have like a favorite punk personality or a series of punks that um, you enjoy tuning into the most?
I mean, specific people. I mean, I think AC or DC collector always has like a good tweet on something. Usually, I enjoy seeing his stuff. He's definitely one of them. And I mean, I enjoy D's a lot. He's a good guy. I enjoy chatting with him. So,
You mentioned AC as well, but AC's a pretty big collector in the space as well. So yeah, no, that's cool.
but he's mainly a gen art collector, I feel.
And how would you describe punk culture for you?
I mean, it's like counterculture. I mean, punk culture in general, or like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of initially, it's like this counter whatever type thing. It kind of, maybe represented in a way, doing your own thing. I think that's kind of where it started. Today, punks in general, I mean, it's interesting. I'm not sure that, you need to get a punk anymore. It's cool to have for sure. I, have mine, but it used to be more of there was a, man, provenance to it. Like, hey, I have a punk. I have been in the space. I know this space. And it's getting a little bit watered down.
That's cool. And how do you feel about V1 punks?
That's one thing I mean, I heard about them and I've never really looked into them. I don't know if I have much of a thought on it. I
Yep,
don't have any.
that's cool.
So I don't know if I have a thought on that one.
What about BTC punks and ordinals in general?
Well, that's a funny one cuz well, I think Ordinal, I don't know. It's just a hype cycle, I think. For sure. I feel like, and I've not done this research, but I feel like there was something called Punk Friends back in the day on Counterparty. I've never looked into it, and I don't know why those wouldn't be, just as
Yeah.
good as punks on
W- w-
Bitcoin.
Were they were
But
they were they
whatever.
profile pictures of punks on?
I think so. I believe so.
Do you collect Pepe's like on Counterparty?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
a rare Pepe connoisseur as well. Yeah,
I have a bit of them. I've kind of slowed down a little bit, but I have a
yeah,
decent
that's
amount.
cool. I mean, that's another rabbit hole, another completely different subculture for sure.
It is for sure, for sure.
What about the Yuga acquisition? Did you have any feelings or thoughts towards punks being acquired by Yuga?
Yeah, I mean, initially I wasn't a fan of it. Didn't seem like the two communities aligned very well, and not sure if they do still align at all.
Why do you say that? Out of curiosity, like.
Because my feeling on like board apes is that is their asset. A person that owns a board ape, most likely that is their most valuable asset. And okay, and so I know it's a generalization, but if that is your most valuable asset and it's a board ape, It only takes a little bit of FUD, not much FUD, and prices can start to go down, and then everyone's trying to get out and sell, get their money out of their asset that is tanking. So that was my feeling, because whenever I had 5 apes, and the last couple that I was trying to get rid of, like, no one wanted to buy them. They always wanted to trade an ape and a dog, or an ape and some for the ape that I had. Like, no one had liquidity, which made me nervous. And the flip side of that is, or the other thing that I think is interesting, is none of these ape holders want to pay royalties. You're not paying into the brand that you love, which is weird. Long term, that kills the brand if you're not willing to pay into it.
That's an interesting take. I hadn't really thought about ape holders from that perspective and the depth of the liquidity behind that sort of collector base. Ah, interesting. Okay. Okay, yeah. So I think from that point of view, there would be some sort of discrepancy in the value sets between punks and apes. Yeah. Okay. That was an interesting take.
And I mean,
In
another
a nice way.
generalization would be, apes got lucky. Punks,
Yeah.
it was a fun game that they just enjoyed.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. NorCal, this was a super fun conversation. One last question to close us off, but if you could pass on a message to the next owner of Punk 3651, what would you like to say to him?
Man, enjoy your time, and make it yours. Make this punk yours, basically.
Nice. Man, it was super fun riffing on art and getting to know your personal story and also your punk story. But thanks so much for your time, man, and hope to catch you in real life soon.
Yeah, man.
At one of these events.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but I guess any sort of final closing comments, and what's the best way for people to find you?
Probably Twitter is probably the best place. It's at Guy NorCal.
I'll put them in the show notes. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in for another week of PunkCast. We'll be back next week with another episode. Bye for now.